Okay, so I'm back. Wanted to talk a little bit about why I came up with the subtitle for the 39 project called Reimagine, Reboot, Reinvest. I spend the bulk of my time on a computer all day, every day, except when I'm actually producing and manufacturing things like signs and banners. Um, but I think we're all pretty intuitive these days to the technological lingo and language. But the reimagine has to do with self. And I'm going to take this back to, again, the computer analogy and referring to self as an operating system, like Windows 10 or Windows 8 or, God forbid, Windows Vista. Um, with each new operating system released by Microsoft or by Apple, there's upgrades, there's changes. We remove features that no longer make sense and we add new things that do make sense. And I think one of the things that we don't, or at least I don't do often enough, is kind of look and reevaluate my own internal processes. What's worked, what doesn't, what's outdated and needs to be gotten rid of. So that's kind of what the reimagine portion of this whole thing is. So this will be kind of the first one of a three-part series, just to be forewarned. So reimagine. And I took kind of a hard look. We go through some very natural transitional phases in life. From elementary school to middle school to high school to either college or military or real world, and so on and so forth. There's some very natural places in there where we automatically reimagine and reboot the system. But I think once we pass, particularly out of college, we don't do that so much. And it became time for me a few weeks ago to kind of take a serious look at reimagining the system. And I came up with several things that I thought I could do better. Simple changes that overall hopefully will give me a healthier state of mind, make me a better person. But I'm going to read a couple of those to you, which is one of the reasons I've got the computer screen up back here, is because my memory is not so good as to be able to recite these things for myself. But better use of resources. 4.0, which is what I am calling the new version of self, the 3.x series, 3.0 to say 3.7, would be following my employment at Midland Lutheran College starting around 2005 to say now, or actual adulthood as it were. But Series 4.0 starts with a better use of resources. 4.0 is more focused on doing work efficiently and with fewer lags. I get sidetracked, I think we all do, but I think I can do better with that. So, I'm going to try to cut out some of the things during the day that slow me down. I don't intend to work nonstop from beginning to end, but I also know that there's room for improvement there. And I think I've got something in mind for down the road to talk about useful downtime. But that's one thing that I'm going to do better. Fewer internal conflicts. The 2.x to 3.x series was riddled with internal conflicts. The developer is happy to announce that many of those conflicts have been resolved, and the central function of the operating system is much more efficient and straightforward, which may not benefit all external users. Now, very simply, what that means is I think we all deal with different things throughout our lives. Some of mine have included the death of both parents over the years, changing jobs, changing occupations entirely, things like that. But at the very end, may not be beneficial to all external users. I think one of the things that I have failed at in particular is not being honest enough with people. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But I don't think I'm doing a service to myself if I don't tell you the truth about how I'm feeling or about something that another person has done or whatever. So I'm going to try to get better at that as well. Quieter operation. The 2.x to 3.x series made a lot of noise. There was a lot of whirring and whining and wheezing when things didn't go well. So the 4.0 series is going to try to eliminate that. Everybody has stuff that they deal with. I know that, but it doesn't stop me from whining sometimes. But I'm going to try to get better about that. And, you know, as I said in my last video, not everything's worth really getting upset over. So I think just taking those things very perspective oriented and knowing that other people have issues too and don't necessarily want to hear about mine. So I'm going to run a quieter operating system, and I think everybody will appreciate that one for sure. What else do we have? Oh yes, there has unfortunately been a battery life downgrade, and while versions 1.x to 2.x could run for up to 20 hours without lag, and version 3.x could run for up to 18 hours on non-consecutive cycles. Due to increased efficiency and more processing power, the developer does not recommend running version 4.0 for more than 18 hours without a sleep cycle. Simply put, I'm getting older, we're all getting older. I don't function as well on no sleep as I used to. That's something I need to remember. It's something we probably all need to remember and take seriously. Rest is good. We all like to take, you know, naps and get a full night's sleep. It doesn't always work that way, but I think recognizing that we don't function as well the next day is a key to being able to change that behavior, or at least to try to change that behavior and maximize those opportunities so that we are rested and ready for the next day. But that's obviously a little bit of comedy inserted there. But it's true, I need my sleep. I used to push it a lot. My college friends, especially during finals, will remember me not sleeping much, if at all. I think my record was something like 7.5 hours sleep over 4 days during my freshman year of finals. Self-inflicted, but I had a whole lot of fun, but I wasn't real functional for the first few hours of each day. Finally, the external casing of the 4.0 model is significantly sleeker and slimmer. But the added facial hair feature may not be appealing to all external users. The developer has added this feature to distinguish this system from previous emulator versions. A lot of techie talk for, I like having my beard, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm sorry if you don't particularly care for it, but it's one of those things that sets me apart, so to speak. But I think, again, the emulator speaks to another point which I didn't read about, but the plain and simple version is a lot of times we try to fit into somebody else's box, something else that they think we should be, or how we perceive other people thinking how we should be. And I'm kind of through with that if you haven't figured that out yet. But there's a lot more in the printed blog at the39project.com. You may want to take a look at it. If nothing else, maybe it'll give you a good laugh. But there's some things to think about in terms of just little things that we can maybe tweak in our own operating systems that'll make us, you know, more efficient, more user-friendly. I don't know, the computer analogy in the modern era makes me a little corporate crazy, but at the same time it really seemed to fit with what was going on when I designed the 39 project and decided that I was ultimately going to go through with it. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that this gives you something to think about. But what kind of bugs are in your system that can be fixed or eliminated and make your operating system run smoother tomorrow? Thanks, and look forward to part 2 about rebooting the system after you've reimagined it.